AI in the travel, here we go. Got that AI on the low, taking flights to and fro, booking trips in a snap with a simple chatbot flow. AI, revolutionizing how we roll. Gonna hop on a plane.
Welcome to another episode of the Everything AI in Travel podcast, where we hear from the makers, shapers, and buyers of AI technology in the travel space. Here's your host, Tony Carne.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Everything AI in Travel podcast. And today we're going to talk all about travel technology, startups, and an association that helps those types of organizations get themselves a foothold in the market, understand what the opportunities available to them are. And we've got someone from the association today with us. Welcome to the show, Bethany Reitsma. How are you going?
Hello, thank you for having me on, Tony.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. Now, you are from the Travel Technology Association, which maybe not everybody knows exists or what it does. Can you give us a quick rundown on what it is that you do at the association?
Yeah, so I am the Senior Manager of Industry Relations at the Travel Tech Association. The organization itself has been around for 27 years, representing initially the biggest platforms and players in the travel tech space, OTAs, TMCs, GDSs, but we've represented for the past couple of years startups, a growing number of startups in the travel tech space.
Perfect. And when you say represent, who are you representing these people to and for and how?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. We exist to empower traveler choice, and we represent companies like Booking, Expedia, TripAdvisor, primarily on Capitol Hill to support public policies around price transparency, competition, deceptive reviews, and more.
Very good. So you are representing a Capitol Hill, but someone like Booking, although I'm sure it has a US entity, is a European company. So I guess the point I'm trying to get to is, if I'm a startup and I'm not from the US, is there something that you do to help me?
Yeah, so we do mainly support startups that have some kind of US presence, but a lot of our offerings are accessible virtually and online. Yeah, so we support startups that are not just based in the US.
Very good, very good. And it's such a fascinating cross-industry organization. And I'm sure you've got an incredible view of what's happening below. And from what I understand, a lot of the startup initiatives here are being brought in by yourself, and kudos to you for doing that. Tell us a little bit about the startup program that you've got happening. Given that AI is quite new and startups generally are quite new, there's probably a good mix there to get us going.
Definitely. Yeah. So when I joined Travel Tech about 3.5 years ago now, we were representing all of the biggest players, but we saw that there was no organization out there that was giving travel tech founders a place to celebrate together, commiserate, cross-pollinate. So we saw a real opportunity to put startup founders in a room together. And that's how we started our membership program, with this idea of how can we support the collaboration and community building among travel tech startup founders.
For sure. I was going to say, I really love that. It's and much needed. Many people in their own worlds, building their own things, and having a place to go where you can talk to people who are in the same shoes as you is totally invaluable. What are some of the things that you do with that community in particular?
Yeah, so we've taken time over the past couple of years to talk to a lot of startups to figure out what it is that they really need and what kind of support that they need. And one of the things we do is we provide a monthly virtual opportunity for startups to be on a Zoom call. We like to take the opportunity to find an industry expert who can be on that call and share some tips for travel tech startup founders. And then we open up the discussion and we take a lot of time to go around the room and share what everyone's working on. So that's a consistent way that we engage with our startup founders. We also have learned the importance of the funding piece with startups. So whether they're pre-seed or bootstrapping, it's a real challenge to find for these kinds of startups to connect with investors in the right vertical space. So we do quarterly what we call startup and investor connect sessions, where we invite investors and startups to be on a call. Startups get to pitch, investors get to ask questions and learn about the new innovative startups.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. I think we first initially connected over something you posted specifically around angels, which I thought was super interesting. And yeah, I guess my impression of the startup funding scene in travel at the moment is that the cupboard is a little bit bare. There's probably not that much money flowing as any of the startups would like. And I think there's probably a few reasons for that, with major AI platforms sucking a lot of money out and the necessity to really build traction before even getting pre-seed in travel seems to be almost a prerequisite. The whole here's my deck and my team thing doesn't seem to work these days, but would love to get your kind of feel for it, and particularly the angel piece, because I have a community within the AI space that are doing a lot of incredible things at a very early stage, and they're using AI. The most of them are founded post the ChatGPT coming out and would consider themselves AI native companies. And as such, there's also not the need for the money as early as maybe there was in the past to get your MVP out and do some tests and trials and whatever. And then the need to hire staff is also, particularly developers, is also being delayed quite a bit. So people are getting a fair way along the track without any funding these days. And I'm also hearing people talk about potentially seed strapping, just looking for one or two investors, angels, whatever you want to call them, who maybe have some subject matter expertise that they don't have as the only source of funding that they're looking for. So I guess it's a long way of me of asking, like, how's it going? How's that connection going? Where are these angels coming from? And what sort of activity are you seeing within your group?
Yeah. So to answer your question, there I've had the opportunities since you saw my post and these past few months to talk to quite a few angel investors that have reached out and are interested in being a part of this angel investor network. The reason for this is in talking to the various travel tech startups, a lot of them who, even if they're not wholly focused on AI, do use AI. As you mentioned, it has made the development process a lot easier for a lot of startups, but there's still a lot of challenges with that. Finding the right AI agent to support the development. We still have hallucinations and all of that stuff. But anyway, there's this big issue with investors not really understanding the complexity of the travel ecosystem. And we see this as a great opportunity as the Travel Tech Association to better educate angel investors who don't know much about the travel industry about why this is a great place to invest. But right, like you said, a lot of investment funds are going to AI only companies and not really the travel space. But it's been exciting to talk to folks like Eugenia, who is at our meetup just a couple weeks ago, and she talked about what makes a travel tech startup fundable in this age of AI. And so getting back to themes about it really comes down to those relationships and integrations. The proprietary data that your travel tech startup has is really key to standing out. And right, it's not enough that you are using AI, but what are those relationships you have with customers? How embedded and sticky are you with your clients, the businesses that you work with? And making sure I answer your question here. It's just been really exciting to talk to a lot of investors in this space who are even just curious about what investment looks like, and they're looking for the next startup to invest in. They want to learn more. And so that's how Travel Tech is supporting this piece of it, by showcasing all of these really innovative travel tech startups, and then also helping them understand what this industry really looks like, why it is a good time to invest. And just to small segue here, a big piece of this is the hyper personalization. So a lot of startups that have recently joined travel tech, just to name a few, Pintours AI, I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but they use AI to create personalized tours. So it's just really cool because we see this is just one example of how AI is being used to create that hyper-personalized experience that customers are looking for. And they can do it, startups can do it in a very agile way that not all organizations are able to do.
Yeah, totally. And on the investor side, or particularly the angel side, how is the association going about finding those angels and recruiting those? And is there some criteria that people need to meet in order to get over a threshold to join and sit in on those pitches? Like, how does the investor side of it work?
Yeah, great question. We have taken the time we've used our network to understand who's out there. You've seen the LinkedIn posts, and we've reached out through our network asking, who do you know that's investing in travel? And that's how we've initially built our list of angel investors. When you go to our site and there is a form, as we're building out more of a dashboard and a network, we are looking to understand, have you invested in the past year? If not in the past year, in the past 5 years. But we are still growing that network, and we're really excited to connect to folks even if they haven't recently invested. We're also trying to understand, do you have a specific segment of travel tech that you're interested in, or is it agnostic? Yeah, so the form is pretty quick, but we're taking it step by step and really focused on getting the word out there, and then building out a better way to show other investors and travel tech startups who else is out there investing in this space. Because a lot of times there's not one place where you can go and see who's even out there. What have they invested in? Where's the interest?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's a mission for sure for those that are out there trying to fundraise. It becomes a big time thief, and anything that can shortcut that, I think is amazing for the industry to bring those that are interested and those that have the opportunities together. I think is a super idea. What about within your association itself, within your membership? Is there any opportunities to cross-pollinate between those initial founding members, like your Expedias, your bookings, your whatever, and the newer members, the startups? Have you seen any kind of opportunities for the startups to do pilots with some of your other members? Is that something that you can facilitate within the association itself?
Yeah, so we are certainly excited to move into that space where the folks at some of our founding members can better connect with the startup founders. We do invite to, for example, these connect sessions that happen quarterly. We invite those founding members to attend, to be a part of those. We had an event last year in May where we brought together about 50 founders, investors, and a few folks from those companies together here in Washington, D.C. We kept it small and intimate on purpose to provide these are the right people to talk to in the industry. And we are looking to hold this event again and build off of last year's success. So that's one of the primary ways that we're bringing these two groups together. And it is definitely an area that we want to grow in.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's really good. And I've seen that you've had some really great kind of webinar guests come on and give information at these meetings, which I think you said are quarterly or the online ones. I saw there was Eugenia and Matt Zito. Are these, how are you connecting with these kind of experts within the industry? Are they part of your membership, or like how are you finding those experts?
Yeah, so we are finding, I think it's a little bit of both ways. I'm certainly staying tuned to who is out there talking about all of these important issues, like what makes a travel tech startup fundable in the age of AI. We we listen to our members and what they want to hear about, whether it's communications, whether it's, of course, Matt has shared his expertise on fundraising, on just being a founder in travel tech, and has a lot of experience there.
Yeah, very good, very good. And so the nuts and bolts of the association, like if somebody's out there listening and they're like, "Oh, that sounds interesting. I'd love to be on those calls. I'd love to like maybe potentially attend the event." How does membership work? What does it look like from a nuts and bolts point of view?
Yeah. So there is a membership application on Travel Tech's site. We're a membership-based organization, so folks that want to participate in the monthly meetups or pitch at a quarterly event are encouraged to apply and formally join us. I haven't said it before, but our membership is based off of the three pillars of helping founders get connected, get advice, and ultimately get funded. So I definitely welcome folks to check out our website. There's a place to talk to me directly on our website. So I love chatting with founders, get to do that every week and learn so much from them about what they're building.
Yeah, for sure. It must be such a great view that you've got. And just a little bit on your own background, like this wasn't the first association that you worked with. You, from what I could see in your LinkedIn, you actually worked for the XR industry prior to this. Tell us a little bit about your experience there. And was there any travel crossover between XR and travel while you're at the XR association?
Yeah, no, you're correct. I spent some time at the XR Association before Travel Tech Association, and that association was much newer because XR as an
Hmm.
industry is much newer, but it was a similar situation in terms of a handful of founding members and then an interest in there's all these really cool XR startups. How can we support them? And had the opportunity to talk to dozens of startups in the XR space, working across all different kinds of verticals. There was a little bit of overlap to travel tech. So I've talked to a couple of travel tech startups who also have an XR piece, whether it's an app that involves both XR and it's a travel tech app. That's just one example. Be Early at Travel Tech, we did take time to do a webinar about XR in travel. That was a few years ago now. Yeah, so it's been exciting to have a career in technology, cutting edge technology in XR and now travel tech. And yeah.
Brilliant. Very good. Very good. And at your meetups, I've seen in the post that you've done about them that you've given a shout out to a few of the startups that attend. And I think they get a bit of a time to do a chat with each other, as you said, at the end of the professional presentations. Is there like a couple of the startups you'd like to give a shout out to and maybe just give us an idea of kind of the stuff that they're up to?
Yeah, definitely. One new member of Travel Tech is Drifter AI. We recently posted a profile about Drifter AI and what they are up to. Essentially, what they are doing is solving the problem of places all over the world that are less visible, becoming visible to AI. Of course, SEO is how websites get discovered, but in this age of AI, it's really hard, especially for DMOs and small places to be discovered. So it's really cool to see companies like Drifter AI understanding how AI is making it difficult for places to be found and how they're fixing that.
Yeah, very good, very good. And are there any others that are maybe like from the non-AI side of things that or have built AI on top of their older stack that are in the association? And maybe give us a feel for kind of the proportion of startups in the portfolio or in the group now that have AI as part of their makeup. I'm presuming it's nearly all of them, but maybe it's not.
Yeah, our startup program has B2B companies, B2C companies, most of whom probably incorporate element AI. I was talking earlier today actually to one of our new members, Travelese, and they are focused on that personalization piece, the lifestyle trip planning. So it's for customers who want to find trips based on how they live their lifestyle, finding trips that complement their lifestyle, and also the piece of how they can find trips that provide an escape from their lifestyle. So they are an example of a company that's not AI native, but they're latching on to that personalization piece and how they can provide good experiences for customers that are looking for those different kinds of trips.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very good. And you are a membership organization, so I presume there are some type of fees to join the organization. So just so people have the info to make the decision of whether to go and do more research themselves, what does that kind of look like? And are there tiers for startups versus incumbent businesses, and how does that kind of look?
Yeah, definitely. Our startup membership program is just under $1,000 for a year membership. So that's $9.95. We do offer a quarterly payment option. We talk to a lot of startups and understand that they're looking for funding, they're looking for advice and a network. And so we're providing this membership platform at a low cost to them as they get started.
Brilliant, brilliant. And the website itself, what is the web address? And if people want to get more information from you specifically, where's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, definitely. So you can go to traveltech.org. That's our homepage. And there is a startup membership page under the Join Us tab. And on that page is actually a direct link to schedule time to meet with me. So please do feel free to use that. Otherwise, you can get in contact with me by emailing admin@traveltech.org. And
Perfect.
I did want to share that as an organization, we've been around for a while and representing the biggest of the bigs, the smallest of the smalls. And I am excited to share that we've been working on another membership tier, and we'll have an announcement soon about how we can better support this broad ecosystem of players.
It certainly is. It certainly is fascinating. And I'm really happy to be able to introduce the organization to anyone who didn't already know it exists, because I think, the more resources that startups have to be able to guide them on their journey and make those introductions and help them find the people that they need to find to build their businesses is just so incredibly important and influential in their eventual success. Kudos to you and the job that you and the organization are doing. Really appreciate you making some time to come along and tell us about it. And appreciate your time today, Bethany.
Thank you so much, Tony, for having me.
No worries. All for another episode of the Everything AI and Travel podcast. If you enjoyed this one, please hit subscribe wherever you're listening to it, and you'll be able to get all the future ones dropped directly into your feed. Thanks very much and enjoy your day.
Thank you.
AI, in the travel game we go. Got that AI on the low, taking flights to and fro, booking trips in a snap with a simple chat bot flow. AI, revolutionizing